Welcome to the latest edition of Rugby Unfiltered. I'm your host, Jan de Koning, and with me, as always, my right-hand man, Eugene Eloff. Loffie, welcome.
Hi, Jan. Great to be back and great to have a very special friend of mine and a very great coach in our country with us on the show. I'm very excited to speak to Jimmy. We go back a long time, besides rugby, uh, traveling on a ship and singing, playing piano, making money. But yeah, I've got so much respect for this coach sitting there. Jimmy, it's great to have you on the show with us.
Hi, Lofi. Yeah, thanks. I do appreciate, Jan. Also, thank you to you for hosting this program and what you guys are doing for rugby. It's a great privilege to be on this program.
Jimmy, I'll refrain from calling you James because the last time I did, I naamskended you and it was a little bit embarrassing. So I'll just stick to Jimmy this time around. Jimmy Stonehouse. It sounds nice to say back-to-back SA Cup champions, and you making a habit of winning finals in Kimberley.
Yeah. Well, they say the harder you train, the luckier you get. So yeah, we will take this one again, back-to-back. It sounds so big, but yeah, obviously qualifying for the Currie Cup is the most important thing. Winning the SA Cup, it's nice to add that, but the qualifying for the Currie Cup is the most important one for us.
Yeah. Jimmy, both you and Eugene, maybe Eugene can start. It's important that you guys get additional competition. So we've got the Toyota Challenge starting on Friday night, and you guys are playing against Lusitanos from Portugal. You're playing against the Black Lions from Georgia, and you're also playing against Romania A. How much you know about these guys, and how important is this competition?
Yeah, first of all, we really appreciate the Cheetahs putting us into this competition, for what the guys are doing with Toyota for hosting this competition. We're always fighting and say we want to have an international competition. Now we got this free games coming up. We don't really know much about the guys, but we did analyze them. We saw them playing against the Cheetahs. We saw him playing against Zebre, and then obviously we know Romania and Portugal are preparing for the World Cup. So looking at their squad they picked, I already see they got about 9 players that played against the Springboks. Portugal's got a few guys that played against the Springboks. So obviously for them also it's an important thing to prepare for the World Cup. For us, we prepare for the Currie Cup. We are looking to see what the depth in our squad is. Some of our guys who's playing in this tournament hasn't played before in the SA Cup. So yeah, obviously for them it's a great achievement to play in some of these games. And like I said, for us, we're going to give our whole squad playing time to prepare for the Currie Cup.
Jimmy, if I can come in there, maybe just an interesting thing, taking it back before we look at these games you guys are going to play. A few weeks ago, we talked about why must teams that win the Currie Cup or on top of win the SA Cup qualify for a Currie Cup? Then all the teams need to participate to qualify for the Currie Cup, or then for the same sense, for the URC, the top 4 teams must go. So yeah, I felt very strong about it, but I think it's a fantastic competition that you guys are going into now. For you also to measure yourself against guys that are going to the World Cup, playing international rugby, and also for your players to see what the step up is playing at that international level.
Yeah, I think that's the most important thing. Yeah, coming back to qualify for the Currie Cup, we know the situation in SA Rugby. When you play in the URC, you got that big squad that's got to travel abroad playing this side. So obviously that is why the big unions, the big 4. If I talk about a big union, I speak about the amount of money you can spend in your squad. So that's obviously why SA Rugby made that decision that they don't have to qualify. But you know, Griquas won the Currie Cup last year, and people is asking why do they have to qualify for it again? We won the SA Cup last year, not losing one game. Why do we have to qualify again? So obviously there's rules made, and yeah, it's not, you know, the pressure. And now when you play the SA Cup final, in the pressure 3 weeks ago, before you reach the final, that's a different story, you know, because losing and don't get into the qualifying for the Currie Cup, it's huge. It's much bigger than it sounds crazy, but then playing in the final for the SA Cup to qualify, and you can lose all that money, lose half of your squad. I mean, that is the big thing going on in this SA Cup at the moment.
Absolutely. And if we take back as well, Franstein a few weeks ago, when all their jobs are on the line, the contracts on the line, the sponsors, it's big pressure. So yeah, to me, it's not really necessary, but you know, the teams that need to qualify or qualified for it now, and there was an interesting discussion about the Currie Cup. People say, oh, it's not the same. Rugby evolves, competition evolves. But let me tell you what, as an ex-coach, every coach wants to put his hands on that Currie Cup, whether it's in the previous years, 20 years ago, or now. Every coach wants to lift the Currie Cup, and every player wants to lift the Currie Cup. So I think there's still a great thing to go for to win that Currie Cup and lift the trophy.
Yeah, obviously, if you look in the past, there's a lot of Springboks who played Springbok so many games, but they didn't have the achievement of winning the Currie Cup. And, you know, every union fights for what is working for them at the moment. I know people will say that the 4 big unions are bringing in the money. They deliver the Springboks. But if you can just change it around, how great can our rugby be if we have 14 unions that is big? If we have, I said it on a show last night, we talk about jobs in South Africa. But if you're looking at jobs in rugby-wise, where's the Kramer Week sides of 10 years, 9 years, 8 years, 7 years ago? Where's those players? If the 14 unions were stronger, maybe those players would still have played rugby. If you go to Cape Town, where's the top 8 schools in Cape Town from 10 years ago, 9 years, 8 years? So I believe there's a lot of talent in South Africa. I don't know where the money is going to come from, but that's the biggest concern for me is how do you get all the top 14 unions strong money-wise? You got your Ruperts and your Matsepis, part of the Bulls and the Boland. You got your Mazottis. So where's the other guys in the country is going to come from to make that rugby stronger? Because it is about money. And players it's a big concern for me where salaries is going. I know your rugby career only is so long, and that's why there's a lot of money involved. But, you know, if you're at the smaller union, Griquas, Boland, Pumas, you only postpone your problems for 10 years, and then you got to work in anyway. And then you'll see what it is to be out there after rugby.
Jimmy, I want to ask you, just to follow on from what you just said. We understand that it's money, but at least this tournament, the Toyota Challenge, is opening a door for you guys to expose these players to other markets and potentially draw in more sponsors. Is this an important step? Because I know SA Rugby is trying to add more teams next year. Is this perhaps the venue, given that we've got the 4 URC, the big teams in the URC, and then you've got the real workhorses of South African rugby, you know, guys like yourself, the Pumas, Griquas, Cheetahs, guys that also bring players through the system and provide Springboks. Is this an opportunity for you guys to get a bit more money and sustain yourself better?
Yes. If you take it a step back, what do you give to your sponsors in a SA Cup? There's no television game. It's maybe once or twice, but it's not even in a big... it's being streamed. So I know SA Rugby is doing their best. I'm not saying they don't. I know SA Rugby's referees are doing their best. Is there enough referees in the country to you know, if you got to qualify and your head is on a block and you're going to lose that money from SA Rugby, maybe, let's say a ref make a wrong decision, but there is a TMO. Maybe it could have been different for other teams. So, and people got to understand me correct here. I know SA Rugby is doing a great job and they try their best. So is the referees. But the exposure for sponsors in a SA Cup. Now you're going to a 1 single round Currie Cup. Now you only get the 2 big unions to play at your home ground just once. So a guy that's buying a suite, let's say they pay 105,000 for a suite. What do you get out of it? So now you've got this. And again, everything is in bloom. And we're glad we got this competition. Suddenly, you have more exposure for your brand on your clothing, for the people that sponsors you. But this is definitely something that gives opportunity for your sponsors to get involved much more. I just hope that the television broadcasting there is much bigger than it's been in the SA Cup. because for the Cheetahs doing this great job, hosting this competition, I think the brand out there should be carried out and give the people all the exposure they can get.
Yes, Jan, I must agree with Jimmy there. And me being involved in as they call it, the big union, and then also the small union. It's a massive jump. And the whole time you as a coach, Jim, I'm sure also you go out and try and get sponsors to help finance players to set up systems in place and so on, because the unions don't have that sort of money. And it's a lot of pressure. And but I agree, if they can just get the same television exposure, because I must also compliment you, but the culture you have in Nelspruit is so great, because for a match there are more players there than that goes to Ellis Park for a URC game, and that tells me that the culture in Nelspruit at Mbombela, at your team, the people are loving to support the team, and that's what needs to be broadcasted and shown out there.
Yeah, and I just want to say this again, after this program, people are going to say, Jimmy Stonehouse, you think your team is going to play in the URC? I know we're not ready for that. I know we don't have a depth. But I know if we can have an international competition, if we can travel abroad, stay there 3-4 weeks, and after the end of this season, we sit in May and already 6 players from the Pumas are leaving. If they can get that exposure playing overseas, get that traveling wise, know how it works up here, and when to sleep, when to stay awake, when to do stuff, the whole country benefits from it. It's not just about the Pumas. We're fighting this fight, and as Jimmy Stonehouse wants to get in the competition. I believe if you can play there, it's more exposure. It's more exposure for players. More players will come to the Pumas. More players will go to the Griquas and all the other unions if they can play in that competition. And that's what this game is about, is to develop players. If you look at our school system at the moment, they talk about the big schools and the smaller schools. So what's wrong for me in our country? We got so many great players just coming out of that big schools, and so many great players just coming out of the 4 unions. Do we need the other ones? Do we really need them? And that's the part that bothers me. We can be so strong with creating all the smaller schools, getting them bigger, all the smaller unions, getting them bigger, that our rugby can be massive. And now you'll say to me, but we are the world champions. Do we really need more guys? I think for rugby wise, yeah, we can. It can be massive. If you look in France at the top 2, if you're not at the big competition, the second tier competition, how massive it is television wise, spectator wise. Now, yeah, again, is there, do the people really value the second tier competition in South Africa? If you go to the Varsity Cup, the people love the Varsity Cup. What can be better if you have a great under 19 and a 21 Currie Cup, that's a double round. And if you have the Varsity Cup, but let's say this, you're not allowed to play Varsity Cup if you contracted at the big union. How will the rugby then change? Because all the players now that's contracted at Tikkies are contracted at the Bulls. That's a way to get more rugby. Will it be the same strength? I believe there can be a lot of players that's still good out there, but nobody wants to go to border. There's no money for them there. So they rather leave rugby. They're going to play club rugby. If you play club rugby in Pretoria, you earn the same salaries that you earn when you play at the border. So why would you go and play at the border? And is that really rugby development? I know Willem Strauss is going to kill me for this, but are we really developing rugby in the Blue Bulls country if we take all the players that comes from smaller unions and we put them in a Carlton Cup?
Yeah, Jimmy, if we talk about you've 100% right. Unfortunately, our country, the talent that's in our schools, big schools, medium schools, small schools, is just incredible. And unfortunately, we don't have a net wide enough to pick up these kids at the small schools. But if you just take the Eastern Cape, you talked about Bordenau and EP. I think because of administration, whatever the reason are, those kids just lose interest after school. And there's a lot of talent walking around there. And I would like to see a system where there's a feeder system where you can pick up these brilliant kids at a so-called small school and maybe put him into a system. But you know, there's only 23 places in the rugby team. There can only be so many rugby teams, and that brings me to the next point of, you know, every dad that wants his son to become a Springbok and think he's going to make it because he's playing SS schools or academy. It's not necessarily that way, as you know.
Yeah, you know what? There's only so much players that can make it, but how do you measure it if you make it? Did I make it in life as a rugby coach? I will always say to myself, no, because I haven't coached the Springboks. I haven't coached the URC. But there's 10,000s of coaches that wish they were me. And there's 1 million players out there wish they were at the Pumas. So there's so much talent out there that I think we can still develop. But if you still keep on being the world champions with what you have, why would you go bigger?
You can't argue that.
Jimmy, I just want to get back to you for a second. You spoke earlier about giving these guys opportunities to go overseas. You guys are going in October. You're going back to Georgia to go play those games there. How do you approach that? I mean, obviously you've got 3 rounds in the next 12 days, 10 days. You play the 5th Friday, then you play Wednesday, and then you play the next Sunday. But then in October you go again. So how do you approach this? Do you approach it as one, or do you see this as 2 separate competitions?
Yes, obviously we don't look too far ahead. We know the Currie Cup is coming, so we can make a decision here. We got this 3 games. It's all World Cup guys that are going to the World Cup. Do we pick our best team every single time? But because, you know, suddenly in South Africa, when you go and play abroad, then it's not your A side. You're leaving your A side at home because you want to win your home games. Because if you can win your home games, when you wear the badge, that's the best team you got. That's it. And that's what it is. That's why every union in South Africa now suddenly try to build so big squad. Like if Leinster comes to South Africa, it's also not their best squad coming, but it's a better squad than any other team maybe. So you got to have that depth. So how do we going to handle this? We got this squad, and we got to make sure that these guys are playing in this tournament, so that if there goes something wrong, you got to have the depth in the Currie Cup, and that's what you try to achieve. If you look at, and if I can mention Griquas at the moment, if you look at their back 3, you can change any one of those back 3, and the next guy will fit in there, and they're good enough. And that's what we are trying to do. So we got to play our guys in this tournament. If we can showcase here that our team that we pick for the next game and the next game, because we cannot overplay our players in this games, and then we go into a Currie Cup, and then we play in the Currie Cup and try to win that as well. So the way you got to manage it is going to be a very clever one, because you only have so much players in your squad, and this is a great opportunity for our players to see how we're going to handle that. And then going into the Currie Cup, and then I think just 3 weeks after the Currie Cup, we're going to Georgia. And dude, if you look at the Georgian squad at the moment, will it be stronger in the 2nd round when you go to Georgia? Because coming closer to the World Cup, are all their players in Portugal and Romania available now? Because when they still have a season to play in, or will they be more available in October when you go overseas? So obviously there's going to be a difference in that as well. And then the same with us. A lot of players are leaving at the end of October. Do you take that players with you to Georgia, or do you join your new players coming in for the new season and use them in that tournament to prepare again for the SA Cup, which you got to qualify for the Currie Cup for? So it's got to be a great mind of thinking and how you're going to handle that.
Yeah,
I think you summarized it by one word. You need, I think.
Say again?
Sorry, I think you summarized that in one word. You need to be smart.
Yes, obviously. Otherwise, it's going to kill you at the end.
Yeah.
Jimmy, I want to talk to you all day, but we're just going to quickly move on. I also chatted to Frans Steyn yesterday about his competition. He's obviously not going to play the Cheetahs. He's playing the other three teams. But I had to chat with Frans Steyn about his view because he's got a similar challenge to you. He's also building for the future and trying to set up a system that brings the Cheetahs back to a level, Currie Cup level. So I think, Eugene, let's quickly listen to what Frans Steyn says, and then we can finish chatting to Jimmy.
It's interesting before you go, Jan.
Yes.
He also has got the EPCR he's got to look at, what he's going to do with that part, So, yeah, it's going to be interesting.
That's exactly what I asked him. And you clever coaches, you guys know how to play with words. So sometimes your answers say more. So what you don't say says more than what you actually say. So let's listen to Frans, and then I'll chat to Jimmy afterwards.
Look, I would have loved to have a proper pre-season before the Currie Cup sometime. But I mean, this is what we need to do. We need to play on Friday, and we need to do well. We need to win. So, saying that, the guys that had a couple of days off, and I think they were happy to be back in camp. The spirit is quite good. I think we played well at the end of the SA Cup. We started slow, but then at the end there was some really good stuff. Look, it's you only grow as a person in tough times. If everything's going well and everybody's smiling the whole time, you never get to see the true character of people. And look, I think after the SA Cup we are a tight group, and we know who's our friends and who's our enemies. Yeah, I think it's just good not playing against each other, not playing against the Griquas or the Pumas, because look, we playing against each other. The competition between each other is quite big. So just playing against somebody else, something different, it's quite nice. It makes you prepare differently, makes you look at the games a little bit differently. So it's always fun. Just somebody else. It's a good challenge for us.
Given if we look at the overall picture of Cheetahs rugby and the other smaller units like the Pumas and Griquas, how important is this Toyota challenge, these 3 rounds for these teams in general to get some additional competition?
Jan, I think it's a great opportunity for us. Like I said, to play against somebody different for a change. I think we play against each other in the Currie Cup, in the SA Cup, every year. So just playing against somebody new, it's a different vibe, different mindset. So look, if you think the bigger unions will ever give up a spot in the URC, you're mistaken. I mean, they've been carrying the burden, carrying the players on that end, and burning through money. So we need to find something for ourselves or create something new, and hopefully this is a step into that probably that direction. So hopefully it's a good competition. Hopefully we get a lot of support, and you'll never know what can happen from there.
How much do you know of the opposition? I mean, we know about Black Line because they played with you guys in the Challenge Cup. But what do you know about Romania A? Is it really the A team, or is it the proper first test team? And also the Sultanas, is that a national team or just some club team?
I don't have an idea. I know Simon Mannix quite well, and the guy that coached Romania played with me at Racing. So that I know. The rest I don't know. We haven't seen the team sheets. We haven't seen anything. So we prepare this first game focusing on ourselves, focusing what we can control, and executing our plan to the best of our ability.
Niels, from a player's perspective, playing against somebody different, challenging you in different ways, how important is that for the players' growth?
Yeah, I think it's obviously important for us. We want to put our hand up to play in Europe. So obviously, this coming 3 matches is important for us as a group. And like Frans just mentioned, it's going to be a group effort. So that, how can I say? Yeah, from a player's perspective, we need to improve as well. So, but I think it's a nice challenge for us, definitely.
But you also get a second crack at it in October again. So I mean, this is different from the normal Toyota challenge.
It is, and it's obviously something to look forward to if we play them again. But obviously, you want to make a statement the first time. You don't want to have to go there and play good rugby to prove something. You want to get it done here and showcase the talents and stuff we have here as a group of players here at the Cheetahs.
Finally, from me, Frans, if I can connect you, you have these 3 games now, then you got the Currie Cup, then you got 3 games, then you got the Challenge Cup. Am I correct? You guys got another invite to the Challenge Cup next year?
You have to ask from upstairs. I am not aware of anything. I'm preparing for this Toyota Challenge the best I can at the moment. So we're taking it step by step. I don't know about the EPCR yet.
Well, Jimmy, Frans, as you know, he's got an interesting challenge just like you. But, I mean, obviously, we all want to see you guys do well. So, you know, maybe we got 9 games where all the South African teams win, if it's possible.
Yeah, you know what? I watched Frans during this SA Cup, and he played a lot of Springboks games, but I don't think his nerves was ever the same as when he had to qualify for the Currie Cup. If he will be honest with you, I think there's got to be a lot of pressure on him. It's a name brand, it's a Cheetahs. They won the Currie Cup so much. If there's not pressure on Frans, then there will never be pressure on Frans. And I believe he can manage it. I believe he can make it. But unfortunately, out there, hond eet hond. It's tough out there.
It's a tough world. It's a tough world.
Yeah, and you know what? Everybody wants that spot. Greek was fight for a spot to get on top. They're not building this team just to stay in the Currie Cup. If they don't tell you they want to be on top, there's something wrong. Because you've got to be on top. You've got to fight to be there. But you know what? If we lose against the Bulls, people will say the Bulls, you got to lose. But if you beat them, then they say they played their B team. That's how that's
That's a fact, though. That's such a fact. If a team does well, it's the players. If the team doesn't play well, it's the coach.
That's unfortunately what it is.
Yeah, I just want to say that Frans Stein's beard has become grayer than you, me, and Loffie together.
Yeah, well, I've been so long in this game, and I can tell you the nerves. When I sat there in this SA Cup final, and you see that second half, it's like water running through your fingers, and the decisions you make. But it's so easy to make it then. But Cornelis Steenkamp is coaching with me now, and I could see on that kid's face, 3 weeks ago when you still have to qualify. It takes on people. It's not easy. But yeah, we put it through, and we're glad for that. I will never forget when we won that last game, and I just lay on my arms and I just say thank you, God, for this win, because you know what? This is the future of the Pumas. People out there don't see it. They don't understand it. And I said to someone last night, for me to say if we lose that money from SA Rugby, we're gone. We can't make it because we don't have that big sponsors like other guys have. But yeah, it's nice. It's nice to be back again in the Currie Cup.
Jan, in closing, now you see the media guys like you have a lot of hair, and me and Jimmy, check, it just goes away.
Wait till I grow my beard, then you see the grey. I'm like Victor Matfield. I dye my hair. No, I don't dye my hair.
Jan, talking about this stuff, if you look at this under 23 competition, what they started now with, and then suddenly it gets changed to you can pick 7 guys older than under 23. So I don't know what the reason for the competition is. But if you just take contracting wise, that guy who's now under 23, he stays now at the Bulls or Lions or Sharks, but maybe he could have come to me in the past because there would be too many people in his pathway. Now he's staying. And now because he's staying, his salary is getting so much bigger. So when he's just over 23 and they don't want him anymore, I can't afford him. So it just snowballs if you really look at what's happening.
That's a good point, eh?
Yeah, very, very, very good point. Jimmy, thank you very much. I think, Eugene, we're going to have Jimmy on more often because it's not often that you get such brutal honesty. So, Jimmy, you'll get a call from me in a not too distant future.
No, I appreciate
Jimmy.
Jan and Loffie. Nice seeing you again. And we're gonna take that guitar and sing again, and I'll carry that hat around again to make some money, man.
Yeah, we need to, and of course the dollar is worth more now, so we can.
Yeah, but what a
Jimmy,
great evening.
Ek gaan sommer vir jou in Afrikaans sê, is lekker om jou weer te sien, hoor.
Nee, vir jou ook my maat. Baie dankie, waardeer. Arigato gozaimasu.
Yes.
Gentlemen, thank you
Blessing,
very, very much. And yeah, from Rugby Unfiltered, two great guests, two legends of the game. Till next time, from myself, cheers.